Week 14 NFL action, and we are coming to you live right here on Sportsbook Reviews, the closing line NFL Week 14 edition. How about this, Kyle? Who's in, who's out, what weather conditions we have, but more importantly, a nice even slate between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games. No better place to be than right here on our YouTube channel, kicking it off and getting it ready to go. 1 hour to go, Kyle. Let's hit it.
Man, a lot of games. Every game to go through. We got a lot. We're going to have to book it today. And I mean, fantasy football playoffs, not that many weather concerns. The biggest weather concern is right here in the studio. That's where the weather concerns are. Snowing outside. I'm excited for today. I think it's going to be a great day. A lot of good spots, I think. I'm excited. I'm really excited. And some pain. I got some pain later today as well.
Oh, my God, who's in? There's some really interesting who's in and who's out today. And again, as you guys know, we'll go game by game. And the great thing about this, which I guess is sort of a little bit of a curse for us, Kyle, we have so many games that we can't just slowly plod our way through it. We really got to get after it. But there always is business to attend to. And that business is you guys watching in the chat box. 76,400 people have hit that subscribe button there for us on YouTube. Thank you for doing that. If that little button down there is still red, just below where myself and Kyle are talking, flip that over to gray. Turn your notification bell on so you'll get it delivered where, hey, maybe you're doing something on Sunday morning, got to run some errands. You get that designation sent to you. Get in here to the chat box and say hello. Randy, Eric, Nimbus, Cody's in here. Jay is in here. Saints fan, Armac is in here. We are going to get to as many comments as we possibly can as we sift through. And yes, myself and Kyle will be answering some stuff here in the chat box as well. While Kyle is blabbering on, I'll take care of everything. But Kyle, as always, week 14, man, I'm excited to be with you today. Why don't we not waste any more time and let it loose? But before we do that, if you missed it, even if you missed the opening, hey guys, I love your opening of your show. Click the link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. Get all the write-ups, all the information, all the videos you need to become a better NFL gambler. 153, 154, Tennessee and Jacksonville, Tannehill and Glennon. Looks like one of these games where, look, this is in the running here, Kyle, for everybody and they mama. I don't see very many Jacksonville takers here. Healthy at wide receiver, healthy at running back, a little bit banged up on the offensive line. You're going to be asked to counter-strike that Tennessee offense. When we take a look at the odds across the board at SBRodds.com, most outlets, 7.5, even 8s are now showing up across the board. Opened up at 53.5. We thought we would get points here because we're expecting that avalanche to come from Tennessee. But I do still think we get a competent offensive effort out of Jacksonville with Mike Glennon. I just don't think it's going to be enough. The question again is us gamblers, are we looking to win this game by double digits? Because effectively, that's probably what you're going to have to do. All guns blazing for Tennessee. I think they can come in here and handle their business after an embarrassing performance. I'm interested to see how they bounce back. But instead of it taking full game here, Kyle, I said it during the week, during the show, give me the -4 in the first half. I think they're going to be ready, charged up, and at least be up a touchdown at the half. I don't want any backdoor cover. First half for me. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans -4. What are you looking at here?
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly where I jumped to on here. Do I think Tennessee should cover this? I do. Do I think they were embarrassed about what happened last week? Absolutely. But we've seen it with Jacksonville. They have covered against some good teams. They are not just rolling over and dying like the Jets are. They are out there actively trying to win. Their offense should be able to put up points. Mike Glennon has not been a disaster as a quarterback. And when you look at the Tennessee defense, they can't rush the passer. They can't stop the pass. They give up points. This game does sort of feel like an over again. I've kind of been burned with some of those Jacksonville games going the over. So I love the -4 first half. I think Tennessee comes out red hot. I love Tannehill, love Corey Davis today. Derrick Henry should go off. If you're playing DFS coming back the other way, I think DJ Chark has a nice game. Chenault's nice and cheap. Love that first half play. If I was betting the full game, since we talk about that, that's what we do here on the show, I would still lean Tennessee, but Jacksonville does make me nervous. They are certainly able to get that late backdoor cover because Tennessee's defense just isn't capable of putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
A.J. Brown healthy for this one. As you know, it's always kind of a whirlwind week, practice week that he has. He's good to go. Obviously, Corey Davis good to go. And also Jonnu Smith back in the mold now. So you don't have Humphreys in the slot, but he's been really missing in and out of action 5 to 6 weeks. Even when he came back last week, didn't look the same. So I think this offense should be able to get back on track. There's not much resistance from Jacksonville. Looking at decent weather situations. 53 for a divisional game is kind of high, but I do think Tennessee is going to be able to score. My only question here is if we got to push Jacksonville around that 24 level, they should be able to do it, but I just don't trust it all the way. As I said, I like overall best. Just give me Tennessee up because, look, Jacksonville's 14-14 at the break. Something's really wrong with Tennessee. I love the fact when a team gets embarrassed, you buy low, they'll be fired up. They're going to come out in the first half. Any thoughts on the total in this game? Because 53 seems right. I do see points in this game because, again, Tennessee's going to score. Just seems just a little bit high. I would feel more comfortable calling that 51-50 range.
Exactly. I'm exactly there with you. I would lean more that it's going to go over than the under. I'd feel safer with that. But again, if you're looking, it's middle of the second quarter and it's, 10-3 Titans, you need a whole lot to go right before you get there. So it makes me a little bit nervous. I think the number's right on the button. Like you, if it was at 50, I would be smashing it. A little bit nervous about it. If, had the proverbial gun to my head, I would say the over because both these defenses are very bad and both offenses should be competent. And I could see the Titans coming out and putting up points today, trying to make a statement after a bad week last week. Makes me very nervous. But going back to your original point, love that first half bet up -4. I do think they're up by a touchdown at the half. Nervous about the back door. Lean the over. Lean the Titans for the full game.
Yes, sir. 228 people watching 6 minutes into the show. 35 thumbs up already. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up button. Darren's in here. Claude's in here. T. Mustafa's in here. Emza's in here. So we're ready to rock and roll. And again, not the greatest game to start off with there, Tennessee-Jacksonville. Tennessee should roll. They should be able to establish themselves in this game, both on the ground and the air. Just a matter of can they cover that game by double digits. I'm taking it all out going first half. How about the next game here? Oh, my goodness. Put this game on prime time. Andy Dalton returning back to Cincinnati. 155, 156, going up against, Allen at quarterback. It's not a great action game. -3.5, it opened up here at SBRodds.com. Now sits at 3s across the board because what you're getting is that buyback saying you get what you get with Dallas. So talented, yet it doesn't look like they're giving maximum effort specifically on the defensive end and primarily from the secondary. And even the two young linebackers that they paid a lot of money for, certainly not giving you your money's worth on this season. Total opened up at 43, now going to 44. I do agree with that because you have two really bad defenses. Cincinnati's offense, Tyler Boyd's a decent wide receiver. A.J. Green, and Kyle's a big DFS guy. I mean, he's listed at $3,000 for a reason. Yeah. It's unbelievable how this guy was an elite top 5 wide receiver is now basically not even an option on that team. When Mixon is at running back, Joe Burrow is at quarterback, they can move the football. But then again, it's still the Dallas Cowboys defense they're going up with. Taking from a full game, you're asking the Cowboys to win on the road where they look terrible the last 2 weeks. Now, the one thing I do want to say is I see a lot of chat around Ezekiel Elliott, who's still a formidable weapon in the NFL. He does have a calf injury, but it's not the calf injury that would really worry you. The calf injury that worries you is the strained muscle. Is in effect on Monday Night Football or Tuesday Night Football, getting punched in the back of the calf and has some bruising there. A little bit painful, but then again, it's just a pain tolerance. Not like I don't have my explosiveness. He should be good to go in this game. Pollard should be good. They have 3 good wide receivers. And also, how you want to exploit the Cowboys' offensive line is with a devastating pass rush. Cincinnati, Kyle, one of the worst pass rushing teams in the NFL. Andy Dalton should have time to throw. He does have weapons. I can't stand the Cowboys. It's a square play, but it's no longer 3.5 and sits at 3. I'll take them because I'm just not of the ilk to say, well, Cowboys, I'm just going to go. Like, have you watched Cincinnati operate and play offense? At least I'm getting an offense with Dallas here, Kyle.
I mean, is it square to take Mike McCarthy on the road? That doesn't feel square. It feels, especially as a favorite, but I'm doing it. I actually think that they just have too many weapons, and Andy Dalton is – on a Sunday morning in the early window, Andy Dalton is a competent quarterback. He's been that in the past. And when the big lights aren't on and it's not a huge pressure game, he plays well. I certainly think he's better than Brandon Allen on the other side. So I actually took the Cowboys. I think they cover here. I think they win it pretty easy. Even though the Dallas defense is god-awful, we still, when Cincinnati plays bad teams, the offense doesn't look great. I'm not a big Brandon Allen guy. I still don't understand. While they're going with him, they must really hate Jeff Driscoll because I could almost get behind the Jeff Driscoll thing here. So as much as I hate to do it, I am taking Mike McCarthy coach team on the road as a favorite. I'm going to take the Cowboys here. The over/under, man, these are bad defenses. Will Cincinnati run the ball, take advantage of Giovanni Bernard? We certainly hope so for DFS purposes. I mean, 5,000 on DraftKings. I threw him into some lineups. They allow the most rushing yards in the league. So if they can get him going, maybe a little Samaje Perine gets going as well and help out Brandon Allen, there should be a ton of opportunity to move the ball and score points. So 44 is probably about right. But for me, I just went the full side and I took the Cowboys. I actually took them at -3.5 at some plus money, a little plus juice earlier in the week. And I feel pretty good about it. Andy Dalton's return. Red Rifle gets his revenge against the Bungles. Give me the McCarthys over the Bungles.
And I can't disagree. I mean, looking in the chat box here also, Willie Jones is, damn, I can't trust the Cowboys. I'm with you on that. But, we've got to break down all these games. But it's kind of funny. Like, I don't trust the Cowboys. Well, who are they playing today? The Rams? Are they playing the, 49ers? Or, just at least the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Kansas City Chiefs? Yeah, I don't trust the Cowboys. But you also have to look at who the Cowboys are lining up at. So if you don't trust the Cowboys, we're saying we trust Cincinnati in this spot. That's the hard part about this. Because when I try to break down lineups, they're NFL players. They do have some pride. They have a paycheck they still have to earn. And when the ball is up in the air, who do I want on each side here? Do I want Andy Dalton throwing to Michael Gallup and throwing to CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper? Or do I want Brandon Allen throwing the top to Boyd and whoever else? Yeah, exactly. Or I'm going to reach out. Hey, I need a big 31 conversion on the ground. Is it going to be Giovanni Bernard, or do I want Zeke Elliott and Pollard back there? That's as simple as the breakdown it comes for me. Not an expensive line. I think the Cowboys can win this game. But again, looking out there, I'm not going to be shocked. Like, oh my God, I can't believe Dallas lost. They're a bad football team. But then again, so is Cincinnati. 157, 158 in the Meadowlands, Arizona and the New York Giants. Kyler Murray's going to start another week, gets another week healthier outside of that shoulder injury. Daniel Jones due to make his comeback today off of a hamstring injury. If you are a skill position, which quarterback technically is, and he is a mobile quarterback, that does hurt him a little bit. But make no mistake about it. I'll take Daniel Jones on one leg over anything I get out of Colt McCoy. The most shocking thing is I have to give Joe Judge a little bit of props. How he went and beat the Seattle Seahawks last week with Colt McCoy, a quarterback, scared to death. That was as impressive as it gets. At least your passing game is now going to open up because you have some decent weapons at wide receiver and tight end for the New York Giants and the semblance of a decent running game. That should be enough in this game to compete. Now, the question coming in is at least you get your security blanket back if you're Kyler Murray. Larry Fitzgerald's going to play today. DeAndre Hopkins throughout the week, we were worried a little about if he was going to go. He's healthy and ready to go for this football game. So all weapons are going. Also keep in mind, how do you want Arizona, small, little, fast quarterback? You want to get him in cold weather with the wind whipping around and maybe some rain or some, sleeting or snow conditions. Really nice in the Meadowlands today, 60 degrees, light winds. It should be optimum for offense. And the one thing we know is Arizona is going to push the issue. My question is, can the Giants fire back? I'm still looking at this game, that 3s and 2.5s, which looks like primarily 3s across the board here, Kyle. I agree. I think Arizona is the better football team. But if I get a decent performance out of Daniel Jones, and maybe he doesn't have any ill effects from the hamstring, they'll be able to compete in this game. I think that number is fair at 3. 2.5 would lead me to believe I'd like Arizona even more, which it was all week. This 3 has been late, sort of lean to the Giants around that 3 range because it's tough, but I agree with the line here. Over under jumped up 2 points, Kyle, 45-47, which I also agree with as well.
Yeah, no, me too. At 2, I got it at 2.5 earlier in the week, and I feel good about that. One thing to keep an eye on too, there's some kicking. They brought in Mike Nugent now to kick for the Cardinals this week, and Zane Gonzalez has had his problems. We can thank our SBR cohort, Kelsey Kramer, for that. Broke his leg for breaking her bed. She said it right there on Twitter. I do lean the Cardinals here. Now at 3, it feels like, damn, is this going to be a push? That's what it feels like. It feels like a legitimate push, like the Cardinals win this game close. The Giants have been playing out of this world on defense. Their defense has stepped up exponentially. I did see a report that Joe Judge is considering throwing Colt McCoy in there for a few plays. I have absolutely no idea why. Why?
It's not like Taysom Hill, like, hey, let's throw a switch play. You're actually throwing a guy who's less athletic in there. What's the point? I get it.
It doesn't make any damn sense. I'm very confused. What do you want him on the quarterback sneak because Jones is, I don't get it. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think they bounce back. I think everyone's high on the Giants, as they should be. It was a nice win last week against Seattle. I think they come back to reality here a little bit. Love that warmer weather, as you mentioned, for Kyler Murray. I'm going to take the Cardinals here. Need a big day out of Kyler Murray. James Bradbury is going to be locked up on DeAndre Hopkins, one of the better shadow matchups of the day. I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch. Dealing with that, it's a neck issue. It's not, like a ligament or a joint. So loosen the neck up, get a little massage in the morning. Boom, he'll be good to go. I like Arizona. I think they bounce back. They know they need this game to stay in that wild card hunt with Minnesota. Only a game up over several teams, the 49ers, the Lions, etc., are all in that same boat. So big game for Arizona, big game for the Giants. This game has a lot more, you don't normally see 6-6 and 5-7 teams with so many playoff implications, but there is some here. I'll take the healthier Arizona team over, maybe one-legged Daniel Jones today. I got the Cardinals. I feel nervous about it, feel a whole lot better at going 2.5. So if you're looking at 3, maybe buy a half a point, get it down to 2, because I do think this is a close game. Wouldn't shock me if either side wins, but I got the Cardinals today.
Yeah, it's comfortably a 3 across the board. And again, I do agree with it because overall, I think Arizona is the better football team. I think you're getting an over their heels or over their skis type performances by the Giants to win, because when you take a look at specifically last week, they had no business winning that game. They had 0 points at the half, but it was just the fact that Seattle was like, hey, I don't think they can beat us. Let's mess around, end up turning the football over, and you're going to get yourself beat that way. It'll be interesting to see, because if Arizona presses the issue, like they want to on offense, Joe Judge to come out of that shell, because I don't think in this game, if you get down, a touchdown or you're down a touchdown at the half, that you'll be able to come back, because Arizona's going to run that up tempo and try to get after you, and somewhat healthy now on offense. So a fun game to watch here over in the Garden State. 159-160. Boy, a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving lines in this game between Houston and Chicago. Houston's been comfortably as a favorite this week, 1.5 up to 2s. I even saw the Chicago Bears favorite about 40 minutes ago by about a point or so. Now flipping back over as we take a look here to the Houston side. I love Deshaun Watson. He's the best football player in this entire game today, but you still need adversaries to help you out on the offensive side of the ball. No real running game from today. Not a great offensive line going against a decent pass rush from the Chicago Bears. Kiki Kuti is your best wide receiver, who comes in banged up already. Hanson, if you remember him, he's, I believe he's the kid out of the white kid out of Cal, who had an unbelievable week last week, which it's hard to factor on and getting that in again. Like, the kid's going to come back and have another 100-yard performance. Can he do it? Maybe. I just look at this game and say Mitchell Trubisky and that Chicago offense with Allen Robinson at wide receiver and Montgomery at running back, they should move the football. I'm actually more confident that they can move the football as opposed to Houston. Houston's going to make plays. That quarterback is special, but when you're down a lot of bullets, you can't just leave it all the way up to your quarterback to say, hey, run around and make a play every single time against the Chicago defense. I can only go the home dog in Mitchell Trubisky in this one here, Kyle.
Yeah, I was on Houston all week. Like, I just cannot trust, I got burned doing this last week, but man, now you start to look cold weather in that game, near freezing temperatures, no real wind or water dropping down, snow or anything like that. So it shouldn't affect the game too much. But again, you've got an indoor Houston team, no running defense to speak of, no running offense to speak of. Now you're without Cooks and Fuller. Kute's banged up. I think on this one, I am so 50-50 as all the books are. I'm going to take the home team in the cold weather with the better running game. I think David Montgomery has a big game against the rushing defense at Houston. They're one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, second worst, third worst in the league. And I know second most fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs as well. So I think David Montgomery is the guy to watch today. I think you see a lot of runs, a lot of short play actions. I just don't know who Houston has to go to. Neither one of these teams I can trust. It's a great point made there on the chat. I don't trust Mitchell Trubisky either. It's getting cold out here. The face is freezing. But, again, this is a game where with my money, I ran away from. I want no part of it. But if I'm picking a side here, I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the Bears in the cold weather and the better running game and the better defense. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
That's the way I'm going also, because I see it there. You can't trust Trubisky. You're right, Darren. I agree 100%. With that. But like when they're favored, that's when I try to turn it off, because again, they shouldn't have lost. And I always like to play devil's advocate. What happens if last week they won by 10 points like they should have? I think Chicago might be favored by a point or two, saying, hey, they got it back together. Mitch looks good. But the fact that they blew that game in how many different ways down the stretch really has that negative effect on how you look. And again, I don't trust Mitchell Trubisky. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but you also have to measure Mitchell Trubisky going up against, like last week's Detroit's defense. Stinks, right? You're going up against Houston. Equally stinks, just as bad as that Detroit defense. They should move the football. As long as you hand the football off to Montgomery in the backfield, everything else should be able to monitor out here. And the fact is, Deshaun Watson has to put everything on his shoulders for them to hang around in this football game. We'll see if they do. And also take a look at the way they lost last week versus Indianapolis. Kind of a heartbreaking loss at the end of the football game, fumbling. We'll see if that carries over. Hey, the season's over. We're going into Chicago. It's cold. It's windy. We'll see how that one figures out. How about this game coming up? 161, 162. Real under the radar for me this week. And now as I'm looking, I'm glad it was under the radar, because as I was trying to take maybe a Denver Broncos team total or say, hey, they're getting 3.5 or 4 points, they should be able to hang around with Carolina. Good luck in this game. Garrett Bowles is down. That's one of the best left tackles in the NFL is not playing, along with another guy, which slipping my mind on their offensive line. Let me just make a shoot. Let me see if I can.
Denver?
Yeah, Denver. Glasgow's down at guard too.
Glasgow.
Their two best offensive linemen are down. Obviously, Dotson's come back and played decent at right tackle. But here's the issue. When you have one of the worst centers, now you have one of the worst guard combinations, and you just have some dude out at left tackle trying to prevent the blind side. Even though I know the defense for the Carolina Panthers isn't that great, here's one thing we do know. Pressure Drew Lock and really good things happen for your defense. I'm completely out on Denver. Like, I wanted to write, hey, Noah Fant should have a good day. Tim Patrick should have a good day. Jerry Jeudy might be in there because, again, Carolina's not a great defense. But if Drew Lock doesn't have protection, don't be mad in the second quarter like, Jesus, Drew Lock, you can't make that pass? You're going to do that today.
And they turn the ball over. Denver allows the second most fantasy points to opposing defenses. You DFS players, 2,900 for Carolina. They've had double-digit fantasy points the last couple of weeks, 15, 17. They're a little opportunistic. They sit back in that zone. So when Drew Lock makes these boneheaded throws or overthrows a guy, they're going to have somebody there. They play the sort of bend, don't break, cover 3 zone, which when there's tip balls, mistakes by the quarterback, etc., you have a guy there to make the play. I like Carolina in this game. I know they're going to be without DJ Moore, but it looks like Curtis Samuel will be off the COVID list and playing. Of course, no Christian McCaffrey, but Mike Davis is filled in just fine for that offense. When you look at that Denver secondary as well, no Bryce Callahan, no AJ Boye, no S.A. Basang. So now they're down their top 3 defensive backs. So I expect a big game out of Robbie Anderson. I think Teddy Bridgewater and the Carolina Panthers win this game. I think they win it by a touchdown. Denver's an enigma, and they've sort of been that way to me this week. You simply can't trust them. You can't trust the coach either. Vic Fangio is scared. I mean, let's just have a scenario. They're down 5 with 5 minutes to go, and they have 4th and 1 at the 45-yard line. Don't be shocked when Vic Fangio punts the football away. He's a scared loser of a coach. Matt Rule, the complete opposite on the other side. I like the Carolina Panthers at home.
Now, Darren McCarter makes a good point here, which has a double-edged sword. Denver's defense is off the chain. The offense is a problem. The problem is they are actually off the chain today. What are they down, Kyle? Top 3 cornerbacks heading into today's game?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they healthy Bryce Callahan, healthy A.J. Boye, I really like that. And also, let's keep in mind, if Von Miller was there this year, they're still hovering in that, like, top 10 defensive statistical categories, but they're so undermanned today going down there. That's the issue that I have with that one.
Yep, exactly. Me too. When you lose your top 3 corners, and we've sort of seen it, as soon as Bryce Callahan was out, they were torched. When he came back in, it steadied that whole defense. Now you lose him and Boye to suspension. Basang is hurt as well. So it's a real who's who of nobodies in that Denver secondary. Carolina is a competent offense. Even without DJ Moore, they've got weapons on the outside. Mike Davis is a capable running back. I like the Carolina offense. I do not trust the Denver offense. Do I still think the Denver defense is a little better than Carolina's? Yes, certainly on the ground. If Denver's going to win, they need big games out of both Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. That's where Carolina struggles, is stopping the run. Drew Lock is a mistake waiting to happen every time he snaps the football. I got the Carolina Panthers.
You know, it's funny too, Jay, in the chat box. You're right. Like, Jesus, Drew Lock. Like, that should be a T-shirt, because and when you bet on teams like Drew Lock and you bet a team total, or even Denver, you can't get angry, even though we all do as a human, like, component here in the second quarter when he throws like the dumbest red zone interception. You just have to file that away and be like, I bet them because I knew he's going to make some mistakes. Hopefully he has enough talent to overcome those mistakes. But yes, that would be a fantastic shirt there, Jed. Just says, Jesus, Drew Lock, because you will be saying that at least once or twice every single ball game. Let's keep it moving down the list. Let's go to Tampa. How about this, Kyle? You're freezing cold. Tom Brady's going to play in 78-degree weather today with light winds and sunny skies down there in Tampa Bay. They opened up as a 6.5-point favorite over the Minnesota Vikings. We're now seeing it at around a touchdown across the board. The interesting thing to me here is when I look at this game coming right up, I'm like, all right, Kirk Cousins, when he gets hot, he can really sling it around. Irv Smith's coming back at tight end, a little bit more athletic than Kyle Rudolph is. 2 dominant wide receivers and the most explosive running back in football is on your side. Then you flip it over and say, Minnesota's defense already stinks. They're very average. They have a couple decent safeties, 1 decent cornerback. They're down their best overall football player, maybe one of the best overall defensive football players in football, in Eric Kendricks. So when I look at the 52 across the board, I say, how does this stay under? Because to me, this just lines up, Kyle, 31-24. And I always ask you this question heading into it because you should have a ground game working for Tampa Bay, the pass game working, and Tom Brady should be clean in the pocket, which should spell disaster. So my always question you is, more likely in this game, 31-24, 20 or 24-17. I can't see the 24-17 here.
Yeah, well, I don't see the 24 certainly out of Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you the one way it stays under, because even though this isn't a primetime game, this is an early game, of course. This is a big game on the road against a winning team for Kirk Cousins. Do you know what Kirk Cousins does against winning teams on the road in big games? He folds, and you also have a terrific pass rush out of Tampa Bay. Now you've got Tom Brady off of a bye week, which I love Tom Brady after a bye week. Why? He's 45 years old, 43 years old. He needs that rest. His arm is more lively after this rest. They have the full complement of weapons outside of Leonard Fournette. Who cares? That just makes things even better for that team because they'll have their actual running back on the field. I like Tampa. I took Tampa Bay 6.5. I like them quite a bit. I just never, ever trust Kirk Cousins against good football teams, especially on the road, coming off the bye week, plenty of time to prepare. So Akbar was asking, what team am I bashing? I'm bashing the Minnesota Vikings. They got lucky and had to squeak out an overtime win against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. You come out here and you put up 6 points in the first half, 9 points in the first half this week against Tampa Bay. You're going to be down by 2 touchdowns. I think that Tampa Bay offense comes out. I think they're rolling, beating up a bad secondary. The running game works. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like them by more than a touchdown this week. I didn't touch that total. The total's probably right. They should get there. Tampa Bay plays a ton of zone. It should be just fine for Kirk Cousins. But again, it's a good team with a good pass rush on the road in a big game. I do not trust Kirk Cousins. So yeah, I'm bashing the Vikings. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of the bets I feel best about today, and the one I'll be most nervous about because of what I just did. And Akbar is absolutely right, because we know our track record when I bash a team here on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, absolutely there. And take a look at Kirk Cousins, because again, that is a talented offense. To me, it's a top 5 offense in the NFL with all the components it has. As long as Kirk Cousins can stand upright, he's going to go up against a pretty good pass rush, but we haven't seen that nasty defense in quite a while here from Tampa Bay. Maybe it resurfaces today, get some pressure on Kirk Cousins. But again, looking at some of the monitors here, it is a beautiful day down in Tampa Bay. So scoring shouldn't be the issue from just heading, hey, it's going to be a tough one, 32 degrees, teams fighting for the playoffs. You should be open here. And again, you're right. Tampa Bay comes off the bye, struggling a little bit, get it right, and can't say this enough. Finally, Chris Godwin, no issues whatsoever. So it looks like Mike Evans is also going to make it to the starting line. They have everything they need to absolutely destroy this Minnesota team, just a matter how they step up and actually do it. Because I'm always under the impression when I watch Tampa Bay, every time Leonard Fournette comes in the game, that's just a negative play. Not to say there's not going to gain yards or do much, but him out of the backfield who looks like he can't catch anymore, when that's why they actually wanted him in. No explosiveness in the run game. You're now going to have some chances to get those deep chunk plays running off play action. I do like Tampa Bay in this game. They have to win by double digits. I can see it. You're just worried about that backdoor cover here from Tampa Bay because Minnesota has a ton of weapons in this one. But I lean on the over 52 in this game. I do think we get points here, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy at all. Again, it's just up to Kirk Cousins. Tampa Bay, too, we should also state this, pretty good against the run. Things could be a little bit more difficult today for Dalvin Cook than they typically are. They allow the second most fantasy points to opposing running backs, etc. No backup in Madison, so you might see a little Mike Boone in there today, and like you said, CJ Ham. I just like Tampa Bay after the bye. What do we say when we're watching a Tampa Bay game, a team we don't like them against? It's against a good team with a good defense. If you make things tough and sort of crowd the line and make things tough up the middle for Tom Brady, there's going to be problems. Does that happen with Minnesota? It certainly doesn't. Someone asked about prop plays in the chat. I still went back and did the over 5.5 for Adam Thielen. The type of zone that Tampa Bay plays, Kirk Cousins is going to have to get the ball out of his hands quickly. I think you see a lot of short catches to Adam Thielen. They'll certainly go to him in the red zone. So I do think he gets over 5.5. I have another prop play for the Falcons-Chargers game when we get to that. But right now, just since you asked and we're on this game, I still think Adam Thielen gets over that 5-catch mark today. I think they got to use him quickly in the passing game because Tampa Bay, very, very good against the run.
No question about it. So, I mean, it's a good game to watch. 1 o'clock game there. The last 1 o'clock game will go over. Does have a lot of moving parts as well. Kansas City and Miami. All week long, I'm looking for a way to try to take those Miami Dolphins. And as the days go forward, Kyle, it sort of makes it harder and harder. No real active running backs available for Miami. So when you look at that matched up with Tua Tagovailoa, which means like, hey, you're really going to have to lead us today and throw us to a victory. That's really hard for a rookie quarterback to do against an okay football team. Even harder to do, Kyle, against one of the elite football teams in the NFL like Kansas City. Over under. How about this? It goes up to opens up at 48.5 at SBRodds.com. We're now seeing 51.5s, 51s across the board. I actually lean towards the under because I'm under the influence looking at this game and saying, all right, Miami's pathway to victory, shoot it out with Kansas City? No way. It's keeping it on the ground, but then the dilemma comes in. Who are we keeping it on the ground actually with who can be a force to move those chains and keep it moving along? It's a tough number because as we usually see Kansas City, they usually play closer games than what they should, almost like they're toying with opponents. Hey, we won the Super Bowl last year. We're just looking to get back in the playoffs and let it rip again. That's my only issue with Kansas City heading in. But now you're looking and saying, hey, Tua, you're going to have to do this basically by yourself and open up the passing game. I'm not sure he can actually do that. And I'm actually going to lean on that under 51.5, which is out a couple outlets here, because I just don't see Miami shooting it out with Kansas City. I think the game might slow down a little bit. And I do like that Dolphins defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm kind of pissed because in our pick six contest, I accidentally hit the over when I meant to hit the under 50.5 because I certainly think it plays to the under. I've been on the Dolphins to cover this all week. I'm still going to stick with my guns and say the Dolphins cover simply because does Kansas City have the ability to win this game by more than a touchdown? Of course they do. They just don't seem to be doing it. They don't seem to be putting their foot on the neck and just putting these teams away. I think the Dolphins defense is good enough to keep Kansas City, right around that 24 to 28 point range. I don't see Kansas City really going after it, especially if they have a comfortable lead. So possibly a late backdoor cover. For you DFS guys, of course, we talked about the running back situation in Miami. So DeAndre Washington, minimum salary for a running back, $4,000 on DraftKings. We've sort of seen him be the bell cow one time. It was last year, the year before with the Raiders. In those 2 games where he was a full-time starter, 50 carries, just under 200 yards, a touchdown, 256 all-purpose yards. So I do think DeAndre Washington is a decent streaming play here on DraftKings. And, hey, a little bit of a revenge game as well. He was slated to be the backup to Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the start of the year, got COVID, then he got released. So I'm going to say Miami covers. I don't feel great about it. I feel a whole lot better. I'm with you. I like the under in this game, especially now that it's gone up to 51.5. I think the under is about right. Miami has a competent defense, and the Chiefs just don't seem to be in that, hey, we want to just put you away and not make this a game. I mean, they could have put Tampa Bay away anytime they wanted to, and they let them backdoor cover them as well. Chiefs have just not been covering the spread this year. The spreads are too big. I'll take the Dolphins to cover.
Yeah, maybe they go down there, Kyle, take a look around the stadium, like, damn, we were popping champagne bottles right in this locker room just a few years ago, or just a year ago at this point. But you're right. The point is valid here. Miami's going to give you an honest effort. Brian Flores has that team going in the right direction. It's just a matter of how engaged Kansas City is, because we can see them, you're right, get out to a big lead, sort of fluff off here, because you're going to get a good, honest effort out of both sides. I just don't know if we're overcomplicating things by saying Patrick Mahomes on one side and a rookie on the other one, and it's not 17.5. Like, you're going to have to be in this football game down to the wire with a good chance to win it here. And again, we're not talking about an offense that has shown a ton and undermanned in this football game without Myles Gaskin. So we'll see how it goes through. Let's get to the 4:00 games. This one has had my eye all week long here. 167, 168. Guys, thank you, by the way. Over 500 people now watching in the chat box live. Awesome stuff. Thank you guys for coming here, checking us out. 97 thumbs up. Really appreciate it here for us. Let's get back to this Indianapolis-Las Vegas game. 50-50 ticket split or so. Opens up at 3, Kyle. 2.5 steady across the board. And I want to say to myself, what am I missing here? Is it just that because I like Indianapolis? I know what I get out of them. Phillip Rivers had that toe injury a couple weeks ago. It looks like that's gone. They're somewhat as healthy as they could possibly be moving forward. Got their young running back in good graces with the offense. Over 70 yards the past 2 weeks combined. Going against a defense that does give out a lot. And let's not forget also here, yes, we look at final scores because that's what matters the most in the NFL. This team should have lost to the Jets last week, a winless team. And it wasn't like, they just laid down for 1 week. They've been playing so well. Anybody remember when they went to Atlanta and played? They didn't even show up and got up by 40 in that game. So now I'm led to believe we're home in Las Vegas. No fans here. We're in a dome. So it's like, hey, Phillip Rivers got to go outside in 30-mile-an-hour winds and sling it around. That's not the case here. I think I'm missing something on this end because I really like Indianapolis. I like the quarterback. Costanzo is going to be back at left tackle, so everybody across that offensive line is ready to go, and you're not playing with a third-string left tackle last week like you did with Houston, which really showed its ugly head in the second half of that game. I don't know what I'm missing here, but I really like Indianapolis minus the 2.5.
Yeah, I simply don't get it. And real quick, we went over 100 likes, up to 100. Thank you guys so much for all that. And don't forget to check out all of our people over at sbrpicks.com/NFL. We have a ton of smart people writing articles, doing great content, every sport. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Big thank you to you guys. It's really, really cool. It's a nice way to spend a Sunday morning. So this line, I think, is too short. What have we got? The Raiders have finally stepped up and become the real Raiders, right? I mean, look at the last 2 weeks. You lose by over 5 touchdowns to the Atlanta Falcons. Then you go last week, for all intents and purposes, you should have lost that game to the Jets. It had to become the most boneheaded call / hey, I'm just going to take the fall for you, take care of me in the offseason call by Greg Williams for them to win that football game. That the Indianapolis Colts are exponentially better than both of those teams. Phillip Rivers knows how to win in December. He's done this his entire career. They're in a nice dome. They're in Vegas. No real pass rush to worry about from the Raiders. Now you get your starting offensive tackle back. This was my 2 times pick in the pick 6. I think the Colts win this one by the 2.5 for me. I know it's a little juiced up, -115, -110. You've seen some 110s. As well, we're getting a -107 at Pinnacle with one of the sharper books out there. I like the Colts in this one. I don't understand why the Raiders are lined up so close, but this is one of my free squares of the day. I like the Indianapolis Colts. There you go, Akbar out there in the chat. Here's another team I'm bashing because I think the Raiders stink. We're finally starting to see the real Raiders. I think the Colts roll in this game. That feels like a free square. Give me the Colts in this one.
I mean, I like the Raiders have a formidable team, but it just doesn't feel right. And I know they're on the road, but this is a different NFL. If we're looking this year, and go back to 2019, new stadium, it's a dome. The Raiders, they love them in Vegas. It's 75,000 screaming fans where Phillip Rivers can't hear. It's dead silent. Like, I don't understand the magnitude of this game of why it's changing that much. And yes, it's only 2.5. I would be really surprised if Indianapolis loses this football game. I honestly would. 169-170, a game that we don't have to spend too much time on because this is going to be death, destruction, and total mayhem from what I'm looking at from Seattle's side. And not because of the fact I really like Seattle in this football game. I don't know what I'm getting out of the Jets in this game because we got Adam Gase here in full tank mode going. Look, I just watched the film last week. Holy cow, Kyle. We have an unbelievable running game when we take out this 72-year-old guy on Social Security. But then at the end of the week, we're like, we got to get this guy who's 72-year-old on Social Security in a wheelchair with a head injury back in here. We need this guy for Seattle. And then you're coming into the football game already down Denzel Mims. So you're going to lean on Brashard Perryman. And it looks like Crowder, who didn't practice Friday, is probably going to be suiting up, but in an emergency role. So my question is, the Jets are in full tank mode. They're going out against an angry Seattle team that says we took the Giants lightly. We shouldn't have done that. Let's get refocused and go on our path, being Seattle, towards the playoffs again. I don't know. I know you like pain. This is way too much pain for me because when I look at this, how do the Jets even get to 14 points in this game with nothing?
They're going to get there with their superstar young running back Ty Johnson, the waiver wire pickup from the Detroit Lions. I do like some pain in this game. I actually took the over 47. That Seattle secondary is so bad. And if you have nothing to lose, if they come out and just I don't care who they're throwing the football to, the Seattle secondary can't cover anybody. I mean, the fact that you even gave up in the teens to Colt McCoy last week tells you something. I actually took the Jets team total over. If you like pain, no, I'm not saying this is the safest play in the world, folks. So just let me preface that. But I took the Jets team total over 16.5. And when you look at Seattle, are they way, 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 way better than the Jets? Of course they are. Of course, everybody is. Alabama is probably better than the Jets. But do the Seahawks win games by double digits? Very, very rarely. Now I'm seeing 16.5. So I took some pain here. I took the Jets team total or over 16.5, and I took the Jets to cover the 16.5 spread. I love the feng shui of it all. I'm taking some pain. I've got my Sam Darnold DFS lineup set up. I'm going crazy today. It's week 14. We got to have some fun. Scared money don't make money. Give me the Jets to cover. Give me the over 40. I got it at 47. Now it's at 48. Give me the over in this game. Both teams score, and the Jets cover this. I'm going to say a 35-19 win, just under the 16.5 for the Seattle Seahawks. How about that for some pain?
Yes, leg broken pain, as we're saying here in the chat box today. It's an amazing thing. Darren McCarty, can the Jets get 17 in the game? I would be, honestly would be. And you know me, like I love pain. Anytime I see something under 16 and a half, I go, an NFL team under 16 and a half, where do I sign up? But again, this is going to come down to when you see some of those tea leaves come out like, hey, Crowder's going to play, but he's on what? Like, who is actually doing anything? Because I always laugh, like, the Giants don't have a great offense, but they have a semblance of wide receivers, an athletic tight end, a running game that you can lean on. Like the Jets don't have any of that, and they're not even trying to help Sam Darnold out by actually calling a decent football game for the kids. So we'll see how that turns out. But if you like paying a 16-point line for the Jets going out west, that's some type of pain that we could take a look at.
It's not a lot, people. Don't be excited about doing it. You don't have to be an idiot like me, but I love the pain. I got to go for it this week. I'm going to have some fun watching football today.
Yeah, Jeremy Jones, what's up? Scared, Donnie, scared money don't make money. Look, I'm scared to death of that game, and I don't care if I don't have money on that game. So that's the way I'm leaving it here. 151, 152. Another game, scared money don't make no money. I don't know. Let's like the cap, you see 9.5 plus 100, but basically it's 8.5 to 9s across the board here as we take a look at SBRodds.com between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers versus Matthew Stafford. I'm not even looking at the line in this game. And 55, 56 for a total is very outlandish. But if Detroit can give a little bit of pushback, Kyle, how many times does Green Bay actually punt in this football game? Honestly, I don't know. Like, if you're coming in with a healthy offense like Green Bay is in this game and a defense that just can't stay on the field, do anything to stop anybody in a dome, nice weather conditions, is 2 punts a lot to be asking for the Green Bay Packers, which means they will be scoring. And the one thing you do know, Matthew Stafford is a game quarterback, man. It doesn't matter who he has with him. They're always fighting back, and he's throwing some darts in the third and the fourth quarter. Like, look at him get back in this game with just TJ Hawkinson. 56, though, man. Like, what are we looking at here? Like 35, 28 type game? I mean, I can see it, but it's still a divisional game. But we've also seen Green Bay take their foot off the gas and, instead of big explosive plays, just picking up first downs and doing all that type of stuff. It's an unbelievable number at 56. I want to say over just because I don't think Detroit is going to be able to stop anything. And again, even the side in this game, like Detroit should get blown out by Green Bay, but you saw last week, like the Eagles, who couldn't even complete a pass, go to Jalen Hurts, return back a punt, do a couple things, and next thing you know, it needs like a 75-yard touchdown run to cover versus the Eagles.
Exactly. And against, Jacksonville too. I mean, look what they had. They didn't even cover against Jacksonville in cold Lambeau Field. I actually love the point brought up by our boy Sean. Love Green Bay halftime, full time at -130. It's juiced up a little bit, but I think that's about right. Look at the first half lines on this. I'm not touching a 56. I'm done doing that. I got lucky with it once on a Hail Mary by Kyler Murray. I'm not doing it again because, again, you need everything right. I simply cannot do it. So I'm going to say the Lions cover here since we have to pick a side. Jalen Hurts in all the lineups. That's super damn fun. I love how the pain.
That's some nutrition out there.
We got to get the pain trending. I feel like pain's going to be trending soon. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the biggest accomplishment in my professional career. But I just don't trust Green Bay to cover by double digits, and that's essentially what you need. You need them to win by 10 points here. I think Green Bay wins the game. They're a better team. You want to make it part of a money line parlay. Sure, it's going to, it's only going to add a few cents to it. But, if you've got like a 6, 7, 8 pick, money line parlay, throw Green Bay in there. I think it's a safe win. But I think Detroit probably does cover here. This is another game I absolutely stayed away from. I just don't know what to make of Green Bay, especially when they have the lead. It's sort of similar to Kansas City. They beat Jacksonville by 4 at home in cold Lambeau Field, perfect Green Bay situational weather. So I just can't trust that against Detroit here. So I'll say Detroit covers. Oh, that 56 number. Good Lord. Stay the hell away from that. But I guess I would lean the under, just under. If that was like 52.5, I would take it. But 56 seems awfully high.
Greener says, y'all covered the Cowboys and Bengals. Yes, we did. If you missed it, there is a little link down below where me and Kyle are talking, SBRpicks.com/NFL. Click on that. Get all the information you need on any game that you missed. And again, a lot of good write-ups here from other people at sportsbookreview.com giving you their edges and what they think about these games. But you're right. There's a lot of pain to go around. And some of these games, which I always like to say, when you bet some of these teams, that's painful. Like if you like pain, you're going to watch the Jets game, right? But if you still like a little bit of pain, you bet the Jets, You take the wife out, you take the kid out, you take the dog out, and then you get back home and you open up your phone and you go like this. Ooh, we covered. That's how it feels. The Jets with that type of pain in this environment. I'll tell you what's a painful number right here. Atlanta and the Los Angeles Chargers, 171, 172. We're doing shows all week, and I'm telling you guys, Atlanta favored by 2.5. I agree with that line. I think they're the better team. And I got to clean, as I say, wipe the cold out my eye. And look, I see a favorite to the Chargers. Are we doing this to ourselves again when we take a look at remember the Patriots came to town? Hey, short little line here, favored a little bit by the Chargers. At least they have an offense. They got run 45-0. Now we're going to get back in the Chargers boat today and be like, hey, no Julio. I love the Chargers today because Anthony Lynn said, I'm taking over special teams. That's why we're going to. I don't know, man. You guys, you want pain? Jump on the Chargers and get something.
So much pain. I think, of course, I'm taking. I don't know what the hell to do with it. These are two teams. We literally have the two teams who cannot hold a lead. The worst teams at holding a lead in the NFL. We have a dreadful coach in Anthony Lynn. I mean, that's absolutely hilarious. Hey, we're having trouble. Don't you worry. I'm going to get these right and take over the special teams. Get the hell out of here. You cannot trust the Chargers. There should be some points in this game. Both these teams are bad defensively. If you're desperate to bet this game, I guess take the over 49. But I have no desire to bet either team. If I was going to pick a side, I'm taking Atlanta. They've actually shown some improvement under Raheem Morris. The defense has played a little bit better. Very, very nervous. Someone asked, is Kenny Golladay playing? The answer is no. Unfortunately, he is not playing, but DeAndre Swift and Matthew Stafford are both playing. Yeah, I got to take the Falcons. I'll take the over. I don't love any of this at all. I just don't know what the hell to do with these teams, but I think Atlanta is at least putting in an honest effort, trending the right direction. The Chargers are absolutely abysmal. Now, is this one of those, we're down on a team, they come back the next week super motivated? I mean, I love Herbert. I love Eckler. I love Allen. I love Mike Williams. My other prop bet that I love today, Mike Williams over 3.5 catches. I got that at a plus number, plus 100, plus 110, something like that. So at about, even money, but it's better than you're getting, another 10, 20 cents there. So I like Mike Williams over 3.5 catches. Bad secondaries for both teams. The Chargers pass rush a little bit better, but you just cannot trust that coaching staff or the team. Give me the Atlanta Falcons and give me the over in this game.
Don't you know? I think your point is correct here. You sort of know what you're getting with Atlanta. You're going to get a competent effort. They're playing for their coach. The ones that really hurt the most are not you lose 24-21. Oh man, the ones that hurt you the most are I bet the Chargers, and they got beat by 45 because they didn't care. Those hurt more than anything because it completely takes your cap out of the situation and say, not only did you miss the game, this team didn't even care that you bet on. All that hard work you put in was for naught. That's what's tough to deal with. And I always get back to Indianapolis. It's very rare you get the Colts and Frank Reich and be like, oh man, they didn't even show up today. So, I mean, when you're getting into that, are the Chargers more talented? Absolutely across the board. They should go up and down the field and score points in a dome. But they should have beaten the New England. Did you see what the New England Patriots did against the Rams? They didn't even show up, and that team won by 45 over the Chargers. Something to rely on here. Now,
exactly.
We got about 10 minutes left in the show here, so
okay.
Let me get loose. Let me get the arm loose for this one. Let me get it going here. All right. New Orleans coming to town to play my Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody knows Jalen Hurts is now going to take over quarterback, which I agree with. And you see the tea leaves out. Well, they want him to be the starter for the rest of the year. Of course they're going to say that. Do you think Doug Peterson's going to come out 3 hours before the game hey, Jalen doesn't play well. He's back on the bench next week. That's not the really way you want to treat it. You want to float it out there hey, Jalen, don't look over your shoulder. You're going to play the rest of the year. Go out there and have a good football game. Can he do that? Maybe he can. This is a really good defense coming to town for New Orleans. But again, some of the saving graces that you take a look at, it's nice weather in Philadelphia today. So you're not going to be hamstrung by the rain and the Eagles can't block anybody, which we know they can't. You're going to have a nice clean slate to get out there. And that's very important because he's a mobile quarterback that can escape the pass rush for the New Orleans Saints. My issue with this football game, Kyle, it's not about Jalen Hurts and how he's going to actually play. It's the Philadelphia Eagles defense lining up because you've watched 2 games they played versus the Giants with a mobile quarterback. You watch them play a mobile quarterback in Baltimore. They absolutely shredded those weak Eagles linebackers with read option plays for days out there. I mean, damn near, Daniel Jones is running for 80-yard touchdowns. He's running so damn far against the defense, he can't even complete it and make a touchdown stumbling at the 10-yard line. Taysom Hill should have a really good day today. Am I rooting for my Eagles? Absolutely. But I need to be real and honest here. Jalen Hurts is probably going to give them a spark because they're going to look in innovative ways to get him into the football game, roll him out of the pocket, which they didn't do with Carson Wentz. They're going to run more plays, run more read option, and certainly take some deep shots down the field. That'll help him out. But again, the question is not can Jalen Hurts operate in the pocket and make plays? It's what am I getting out of the Philadelphia Eagles defense going against a mobile quarterback? They haven't shown any instance to stop whatsoever here. I'm a big fan of New Orleans. I think they're going to be able to win this game by a touchdown or more. But again, that number, that's 7.5 and 8 now, Kyle, let's remember, this thing was 6.5 hovering in that range late in the week. So if you miss that target shot, it's hard to get back in on 7.5, but I like the Eagles. They'll play hard today. They'll get a spark, but I don't know if that spark's going to be enough to beat a really good football team. Because again, I'll leave you with this, Kyle. They're not playing Cincinnati today where they can say, hey, let's see what we can do. This is a top-notch NFL team that I think is the best in the NFC.
Yeah, this is a woof on that line, right? Because you're just like, God, do I want to take Taysom Hill by over a touchdown on the road? And then, do you want to go with Mellencamp and Hurts and take I don't. This is a complete stay away game for me. I have the Saints in a money line parlay, added just a few cents to it. Obviously, it's juiced up. If I'm taking the Saints, if you're all looking and you want to take the Saints, you got to tease this down. You got to buy some points here. You got to get that under a touchdown because, it doesn't take much. You say, oh, what's the difference between 7 and 7.5? It's huge. It's massive. It's absolutely huge. And I don't know that I can trust Taysom Hill, the way they play offense. Are they going to need to put up a ton of points to beat Philadelphia? That Saints defense, one of the top 2, 3, maybe 4 defenses in the NFL. You got a guy making his first start, a lot of moving parts with the Eagles. It just doesn't seem to be a lot to trust there. I don't think they trust themselves. I don't think they know what the hell they want to do in Philadelphia right now. Complete stay away game for me. If I had to pick a side, it would be the Saints, but I would buy some points and get that under a touchdown for sure.
On a lot of teams, I like to dig really low to try to see how I can figure out taking a team total or even rationalize the team total. So when I see 16.5 for Jalen Hurts, it immediately makes me want to dig in. But then I just get back to the Eagles offense and what it really is. Look at the last 5 games against a really bad Dallas team, which had Ben DiNucci quarterback, 119 on the ground, 103 in the air. The Giants team, 156 on the ground, 190 in the air. Cleveland's defense, 106 on the ground, 209 in the air. Seattle, who has a porous defense, 70 on the ground, 180 in the air. Green Bay, who can't stop anybody and was blowing you out, 117 on the ground, 161 in the air. You can't snap your fingers and get 270 yards passing out of a rookie quarterback. That's why I'm off that, because usually I would be bargain hunting and saying, I think they'll be formidable. Can they run an offense today? Sure, they can run an offense today, but I'm not banking on it with a rookie quarterback. And again, we're not running this offense against the Dallas Cowboys or the Cincinnati Bengals. It's New Orleans. Let's keep moving here. Let's get to your team, Kyle, 425. Out on the West Coast. And I don't understand. I like the 49ers. I gave out my banker bet this week on sportsbook.com for the San Francisco 49ers. And I can't quite figure why I'm sitting alone here on an island. A 50-50 ticket split, 43.5 is an over-under. Looks like we're going to settle in that 3 range, which is what it's been. You saw 2.5s. We saw 3.5s. But it'll probably settle at 3, and I think that's fair. I don't know what I'm missing here. San Francisco plays like the number 1 team in the NFL every single week. Now you're going to say, you can even go back and say, well, hey, Donnie, Washington beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on the Tuesday. Down 14 points. I give them all the credit in the world. But now they're going into this football game without their best player and trying to scheme a running game with the J.D. McKissics of the world. I like Terry McLaurin. I do. I think he's a wonderful young wide receiver. But you still have Captain Dink and Dunk in the backfield, and that fits Nick Mullins perfectly for the San Francisco 49ers. They'll be able to run the football. They'll be in the game the entire way. You have so many more talented weapons and the most creative play caller in the NFL, Kyle Shanahan. 49ers get this W and get it by a touchdown here. The Niners going to play this game like, man, that time we played a team that can't do anything on offense. Give me the Niners. I don't even care if you're Niners and you don't like them. I like them. Bank on that.
Oh man! And hey, I saw a question in the chat I wanted to answer. Jonnu Smith or Cole Kmet? Cole Kmet sort of emerged on as the lead tight end over Jimmy Graham, but I do like Jonnu Smith today against that Jacksonville defense. Yep. And if you guys can help us out in the chat box, 4 more likes to get to 150. We really appreciate all of you guys. Over 520 people in here. Okay, here's the thing with me. Do the 49ers have more weapons on offense? Yes. Am I going to be rooting for my 49ers to win? Yes. Will I be taking shots and switching seats and calling people, telling them to switch their seats? Absolutely, because we're only one game out of the playoffs. But that Washington defense is so good. I do not trust Nick Mullins against a pass rush and a competent secondary. When that happens, he makes dreadful, dreadful mistakes. It will not shock me if we see CJ Beathard in the second half of this game because Nick Mullins has just absolutely crapped the bed. So as much as I love my 49ers and as much as I want them to win this football game, and I agree with all of your points in terms of weapons and coaching and everything else, I just think that Washington defense, that pass rush, and that secondary is too good. So I got Washington to cover here and win outright. And the bet I really like is I like the under. I don't think either one of these teams get into the 20s. I like the under 44 in this game as well.
I can't believe it. This is going to be like a day at the beach for the 49ers. Like, yeah, Washington's got a good defense, but the fact that you don't have to cover or do anything on defense or worry about a mobile quarterback here in Alex Smith, I'm all over your 49ers, and I love it. Let's get to the last game of the day today. Good one tonight, Sunday Night Football, 177-178, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Line opened up, around that pick-em range, even some early indicators towards Pittsburgh. That's completely swung to Buffalo. And I have to say I do agree with it, but however, you're looking at this game, the over-under opens up at 47, goes to 48.5, and 49 to some outlets. I agree with that too. You're getting your starting center back as opposed to like an undrafted rookie free agent, which the Steelers were rolling with for the past couple games. So Pouncey will help solidify that front line for the Steelers here. Still have an elite passing game. Big Ben's having a great year. Got some talented wide receivers. I hate their running game, but at least James Conner, who I bag on each and every week, has the ability to get 3 yards when he hands it off. It's apparent when he went down on COVID, I was actually joking, saying, hey, the running game's going to get better. Watching the last 2 weeks, they are embarrassing on the ground. So at least they will have a semblance of a running game in this one. Do I think the Steelers win this game? I actually don't. I'm really high on the Buffalo Bills playing at home in a big spot tonight. I think they can get it done, but I do think we get points. I'm feeling away that 28-24 type of ball game where I think the Buffalo Bills end up winning. Steelers are hanging around to be close, but I don't think they get the cover because I don't think they can win the football game.
I've been on Buffalo all week, and then the more I look at it, I actually think Pittsburgh gives Buffalo some trouble tonight. I like Pittsburgh. I think that was a wake-up call for them. We're getting an 11-1 football team as underdogs. We're getting some points against the Buffalo team. They look good against the 49ers, absolutely, but they certainly have holes in their defense, and I like that James Conner got a couple of weeks off. That's good for him. Get those legs fresh, get ready to go. Might be a little biased there because he's my RB2 in one of my playoff fantasy football teams. Unfortunately, it's a keeper league anyway. So I'm going to actually go the opposite way. I'm nervous about this game. I might do a proper 2 here tonight. I agree with the over. I think both teams get into that high to mid-20s. I think this game is a lot of fun tonight. I think Pittsburgh opens it up some more. They're mad about that loss. They know they need to keep pace with Kansas City. Give me the Steelers to win outright on the road in that cold, nasty. It's going to be cold up there in Buffalo tonight. When you look, it's one of the games, it's going to be around freezing, 10-mile-an-hour sustained winds, normal Buffalo stuff. The running game for the Bills isn't very good either, and the run defense for Pittsburgh certainly better than the Buffalo run defense. I like the Steelers to win tonight, get back on track. I know everyone's high on the Bills and down on the Steelers, so I'm going to go the opposite contrarian route. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, down 3 starters, too. No Joe Hayden, no Spillane, and also no Bud Dupree. So we'll see if they can bring that. But I think their offense comes to play in this one. Should be fun. That'll do it for the show today. But before we get out of here, I got 2 plays I like, and I'm on a nice 5-1 run here on the closing line. 2 games at 1 at 405, 1 at 425. Everybody named Mama. Come on, get on my back here. We're going Indianapolis Colts -2.5. They win that game by a field goal plus. And then I'm going Kyle with your 49ers to win by touchdown over the Washington football team. They're my 2 plays for today. What do you got here?
Well, if my Niners lose, then I'm blaming you for jinxing them and reversing my reverse jinx. I'm right there with you with the Colts -2.5. Too easy. I also like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -6.5. And we might as well have some pain in the afternoon, shall we? So I'm going to take the Jets over 16.5 team total in that afternoon slate to bring some pain to the show. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck today, everyone.
Bringing the pain is what we do. Thank you guys for joining us. Over 500 people throughout the entire hour. Fantastic stuff. 167 thumbs up. We do thank you for that. Keep in mind, tomorrow we'll be back live talking NFL action for a good Monday Night Football game that we can bash Kyle and his Cleveland Browns tomorrow night versus the Baltimore Ravens. Thanks again for joining us. A couple minutes outside of kickoff. Let's win those bets today. Get after it. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbook.com, and this was the closing line episode